have been well trained.
No.
You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Or do not.
I'm not afraid.
There is no try.
And we are back here at the Nova Open. This is round 2 out of 8. So if you can't tell by the sarcasm in my voice, it's going to be a long day.
It's going to be a long day.
I am here with Billy. And are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
So we are going to see a really interesting matchup. So the previous round we saw Jango, Mama Talzin, and Trooper versus Jango. Now we're going to see the exact same deck with the exact same player versus droids.
Yeah.
So the other matchup that we have known fairly well should be happening today. Thoughts on what we're going to see here today?
Well, the thing is, it's going to be droids is going to burst out there, right? So it's the story is going to be, can Jango sustain that burst of all the action cheating and all the dice being out there? We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because as we saw in the previous iteration of the game, Watt went down turn 1, and Watt has 9 HP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the droids do not have that much HP. They have 8, which is 1 less, if you do your math right.
Yep.
So we have the capacity to see a dead droid on deck in the turn 1.
Can't see.
So here's the question. Who do you go for? Because you have Satine, you have R2, and you have C-3PO.
It's one of those things, I mean, I played against C-3PO droids last night. I went after R2 first. So, I guess, I mean,
yeah, right. It's
one of those decks like you got to just pick somebody and go for them. I mean,
yeah.
I think you go after 3PO. You turn off all that focus and the resolution for +1. But, I mean, R2 turning is not bad either, so we'll see what happens.
All right, so we see that Jango and Friends, just because I don't want to say all the names because they're too complicated. So Jango and Friends has a riot shield on deck. They took the shields, meaning the droids go first. Let's talk a little bit about Fateful Companions of the plot and what that does for droids.
I mean, I mean, why wouldn't you run it? I mean, it's so good. You get the extra usage of 3PO and R2's abilities. It's just good, just solid.
Yeah. So we see that Jango is going on defense. He's got a shield and a riot shield. There's no activation, but apparently he is very suspect that he could get burst down very quickly, or he is getting the cards out of his hand because we know that the droids have the capacity to just eat your money.
Man, 6 resources over on the droid side.
Well, I mean, you could play Rig Detonation if A, you were a hero, and B, you had it in your hand, but that's not the case.
Here comes the Entourage coming out, and he's probably going to dig for another one if it wasn't already in his hand.
So what does Entourage do?
Man, I mean, it's just 3-cost support. Yep, there's another one. So it's got some pretty good size. The special that will do damage equal to the number of scoundrels in play. It's just a good high-cost support with a lot of indirect sides. So, solid card.
And when you play it, you're allowed to search for a scoundrel card, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, it's everything you would want in a 3-cost support.
Yeah. So that's why you saw the scoundrel played, and then Kevin looked for another scoundrel in his deck, which he has the resources to play right now. The question is, does he have the hired mercenaries to search out with the second entourage? Or hired muscle?
Well, you could do hired muscle, or you could do the fickle mercenaries.
Yeah. Blending all of the cards together. All right, we see an energy bow. Now, that is not a common card. Can you tell us a little bit about what that does?
So it's got the 2 blanks on it, which isn't great, but with Talzin's ability, you get it, you can focus it to whatever you want, which is great. So it's from across the galaxy. It is a 1-cost villain upgrade. So after one of your card effects rerolls one or more of your character dice, you may reroll this die. And it's got a +1 range, +2 range, 1 disrupt, 1 resource, blank, and blank.
Nice. And we see Kevin going for the entourage play into Fickle Mercenaries.
Makes sense.
Which is a good card. Now, that does have a special ability on it, which allows players to purchase it between each other. Can you tell us a little bit about the power of this support?
I think it's a very well. First of all, it's a good support. It's got good sides on it, ranged sides. It's like Jango's rolling in here. But I think I know Taxter's talked about this on your podcast several times, Sugi. A lot of people just don't really get the when or the best way to go about buying and trading, buying the mercenaries back and forth. So really utilizing those resources and understanding when the best time is to buy it and even buy it back if you're the player who originally played it. It's crucial.
Yeah, I truly believe that we could see Fickle Mercenaries become a very important card depending on how much money each player has, because you spend 2 resources to get it back onto your side of the table.
And man, he threw the entourage die off there. That went flying.
I don't know what that entourage die did to him, but it's like he owes him money. So if you look at Talzin, when you activate her, you're allowed to look at the top card of your deck. If it's an odd number, you can flip one of your dice to whatever side you want. Unfortunately, it's a probe. But fortunately, in the next round, he's going to have a probe.
Yeah. And against Satine droids, it's not a bad thing to have.
Yeah.
Looks like a lot of easy picks. All right, well, there goes that nice range side.
So easy pickings, you spend 1 resource, you spot a yellow character, you can remove 2 dice showing the same value and the same symbol. Mm-hmm. So it's a really great way to get rid of a lot of things on the table that could be very, very detrimental.
To disrupt rolled out on the entourage, best defense it.
Now here's something we're seeing that is different from the first game. There's not a dead character, and we're probably not going to see a dead character.
Hasn't been. I mean, the only damage dealt has been from the best defense.
Right. So if you're the Jango and Friends deck, what's your move here? Because last game you killed Watt. This game, you're re-rolling to try and get damage, which he doesn't actually hit, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. But this guy he can't stop hitting disrupt sides over on the Satine droids, which he doesn't want either. Of course, he's going to be able to turn it with R2 here. And the 1 melee for R2. Turn that to the range side. Yep. 2
Probably
range.
2 for free. So R2's ability, if you haven't been watching recently, after you activate, you can flip a die to any side if you spot C-3PO. C-3PO is dead. You can only flip a die to its topmost side on the the die layout on the box, which is very, very powerful because as long as 3PO is alive, you just have free focus online as soon as you activate, which is incredibly powerful. So
getting the battlefield there was nice for Jacob, turning off things like flee a scene, seize the day. So at least he's got that going for him.
And we know he has the probe in his hand, so he's going to roll out the trooper, try and get some value here before he dies.
It's like the 2 free and hidden motive here.
All right, rolling. Yep. So hidden motive is a 0-cost card that you state a symbol. Your opponent re-rolls the die. If it hits the symbol you declared, it's removed from the pool, which the trooper pretty much only has ranged sides that are worth anything.
Looks like a 1 focus and the 2 for 1 resource on Satine. Does have the reroll if he wants it from Satine's ability. Doesn't look like he's taking it.
There's that probe we were talking about. Full art, all the games. So tell us a little bit about probe and why it's important.
I mean, getting any event. Got 1
Ewok,
event.
Yep.
So that's great. You get something out of their hand. You're fishing for, action cheat. You're fishing for healing. You're fishing for removal. Any of those would be great with probe.
Now let's talk about why Ewok ambush is important for droids, and the that was a really important play, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's a great card.
So what it does is it allows you to activate one of your non-elite characters, and it has ambush. So realistically, what you do is you activate R2, you roll on his die, you flip his die to something, then you activate C-3PO, and you pretty much deal 3 free damage with 1 card.
It's pretty good.
But losing that card means, A, that doesn't happen, and B, if you notice, he hasn't activated his droids, which probably means no droids day out, no off the sensors, no card that gives him the capacity to action sheet a really explosive, quick damage that Jacob cannot respond to.
So resolving that special for 3, 1 off the shield against Jango. Jango rolled out the 2 for 1, the 1, and then it looks like a 1 melee on the van braces.
Yep.
So doing the 1 against 3PO, or 2, sorry.
So 3PO has been declared the target,
which I think is good.
Take off.
Taking out all that focus and all that money and the boost ability.
What's this
Fatal
card?
Blow, love it. So making that a 4 damage.
Now, what does Fatal Blow do?
So Fatal Blow, you resolve one of your dice showing damage, increasing it by the number of upgrades on the character.
Ooh.
So that was a +3 to that range die, which I think is great. And it's got to be one of your character dice, which is why you couldn't do the Van Braces.
So what is that, 6 damage on?
6 damage on 3PO, so he's almost dead.
So that 2 more damage, and 3PO's toast. We seem to have sticks on the Van Braces coming off Jango, and then Talzin can course correct.
Yep.
Which, unfortunately...
He can't. Man, he's missed that twice.
He's 0 for 2
rough.
here. But we know that Forsaken
is
a very, very, very powerful tool in the next round, because you can utilize Talzin and give Forsaken on. Forsaken is 0-cost removal spell that states if there's 1 die in any player's pool, you can remove a die value of 2 or less, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And that was a 2 discard there from Fickle. Boosted with 3PO's ability, so gets the Witch Magic out of his hand, which is
feels bad.
One card, yeah, one card he really utilized last matchup to get it. He's going to do Fateful to look like a focus. Do a special, probably. What's he doing here?
So why did he use Fateful when he didn't activate a droid?
He activated 3PO. So this is part of the 3PO.
On this round?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're waiting to see what he pulls out here.
All right, money on 3PO. So lots of money out there. All right, 1 more onto 3PO. So 3PO 1 away from.
And what's really frustrating is if Talzin had have hit an odd number, there would have been lethal showing for 3PO.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that there's not means that Kevin can sit on any kind of removal he needs, and he doesn't need to spend it because there's nothing really threatening him right now.
So
and Jacob really needed that kill.
He did. He really needed that.
Because here's the problem. If you go into the next round, you're probably going to get hit with a droid stay out.
Probably.
We haven't seen it, and I'm sure Kevin is trying to dig really deep so he can just instantly go resolve 3PO, or roll out R2, roll out 3PO, get some resolutions, use the plot, get value, and then you can kill 3PO because he did everything he needs to do. Which could potentially mean you have no resources, you have a lot of damage on a character. Like there's just so many things that could happen
Shield side
aren't great.
Of course, there's the focus on Satine, so he can turn that to the 2 and boost it with. Oh, he's going to buy the Fickle.
So this is something we were talking about previously. Is you can spend 2 as an action. You can spend 2 resources to buy Fickle onto your side of the table, which means Jacob now has a new support in play. He has a way to actually deal more damage. Kevin does not, but Kevin could just say, okay, I'm going to spend my 2 resources now and buy it back. Don't worry about it. I want it. But he's going to play another crate speeder. Oh, my goodness. So he rolls it out, and this is interesting because it has an ability that states if it has no damage on it, you can place 1 damage on the support to increase the value of the die by 1, which
so the first one he did was the 2 shields, which we see on R2 or 3PO. I'm sorry, activating R2 here. You can turn it. I mean, he can do a lot here.
Now, you have a lot of options here. You can get 3 indirect damage out of Crate Speeder. You could go for 3 direct damage out of Crate Speeder. You still have the Entourage showing 2 damage because you lost the Fickle.
Yep.
And then Satine has a focus, which you could flip into R2 for 2 more damage.
Yep.
So there's a lot of damage potentially
there's the turn with R2, so doing the 3, probably against Jango here.
Probably against Jango. He's going to block 2 of it with Riot Shield.
Yep.
Which is very wise. Then you have 2 indirect damage.
2 more from Entourage.
Oh, no, that's right. It's 2 direct damage.
2 direct, yep.
And then you flip
Focus
R2 into
2. And 2 more.
Poke the bear, yeah.
Man.
So Jango just went from not much damage to a lot of damage really
he's got
quick.
4 health left.
So here's my question. If Jango goes down this turn, can you still win?
I don't think so. I mean, with just Talzin and Trooper and with as much removal as the 16 droids has, especially with all 3 of their characters still on the board, if he had killed 3PO last turn,
that would have changed everything.
It would have changed a lot of stuff.
Yeah. All right, Fickle comes out. So the reason why players do that is because you want to get the die into the pool, so that way if your opponent decides to buy it off of you, which we just see right now,
right there, yep.
The card has been tapped, so your opponent cannot resolve it, they cannot roll it, they can't do anything with it. If he hadn't have gone first with that action, Kevin could buy it, and now he has he has gas.
And I mean, you can think of it this way too. It was showing the 3-for-1, which would have killed 3PO
Right.
if Kevin had let him resolve it. So basically, it was like a 2-cost removal without the card.
Right. So it's one of those things, kind of like you were saying, Taxter talked about on the podcast. It's a very critical junction because you have to make very important decisions with what you do, how you do it, and when you do it.
And here comes the Ewok ambush.
All right, so he had a toy in his pocket to get both of the droids to roll out, which is really bad because he's probably going to Fateful Companions. And we're going to see R2 flip something here naturally. Now, this is important for Kevin because he has a lot of decisions to make. What do you think he's going to do?
I mean, you want Jango showing damage. I mean, you got to. He's the threat. I mean, you got to do whatever you can. Jango trying to
I think
understand the triggers here.
Yeah. So the Ewok ambush allows you to activate a non-elite character, and you have ambush. So you activate R2, you roll him out. Then as your regular action, you roll out C-3PO. Then R2 triggers after you activate this droid. You can flip a die to any side. Then C-3PO activates, which says after you activate, you can resolve any of your dice, increasing its value by 1. And then on top of that, you can use Faithful Companions to either flip another die with R2 or resolve another die at +1. So you've got a lot of flexibility here.
Call the judge over, just understanding all the triggers and everything going on. It's perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and anyone who's listening, if you want to get into competitive Destiny, or even if you're in casual Destiny, if there's ever a question you're not sure what's going on, do not be afraid to call a TO because they are there to help, and you really want to make sure you have a fair game experience. Sometimes people just don't understand how cards work, or sometimes there is a misplay. So, never feel intimidated that, you feel like this could be a mistake. Always call your TO, always call your local judge, and just say, hey, can you please clarify this? So that way both players just, have the most fair game possible.
Okay, so we did the disrupt, and then turned, and then R2's disrupt, did that.
Yeah, so R2...
Focus to the money.
Yeah.
Yep.
R2 flipped into disrupt. It was resolved for 2. And then he used Faithful Companions.
Hey, you got Talzin, all right.
All right, Talzin did a thing.
For the first time this game, unfortunately for Jacob. Flipped to the +2, so he's showing lethal on those dice against 3PO.
Now here's my question. Why did he not put the 2 range damage into 3PO, showing lethal, with the 1 stick on the, I believe it's fan braces?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question.
I mean, maybe he's just trying to go for 6 damage into 3PO, or 4?
Or maybe
or 3.
Maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe didn't want to waste all those dice since he knew.
I don't disagree with it.
Yeah.
It's just he had it online. So in my head, it's is it better to resolve your dice to try and just clutch out, or try and soak out your opponent's removal?
Yeah. All right, so he killed 3PO. Got 1 on Satine. Still got a long way to go here, but.
So here's a reverse problem.
Ooh, and
Kevin doesn't kill anybody, potentially.
There goes Forsaken.
There he goes Forsaken. We saw that. So here's the question I have for you.
Yeah.
Last game, or last round, nobody died where 3PO should have died. Now 3PO's dead. What if Kevin can't capitalize and get the kill on Jango? Because we just saw Right Shield come out.
I mean,
so it's going to be hard. He's not close to being dead. He's got a lot of things to do here.
Yeah. Well, rolling the specials on Entourages is pretty good.
So he's going to play this. I believe it's a 0-cost removal spell. Remove a die. Your opponent gets the next ambush action.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just removing all the threats.
Next card he plays, so he doesn't get ambush automatically.
Next
card he plays.
plays.
So he didn't play a card, so he loses the ambush. All right, so more on Satine.
So R2 is not the threat, huh?
Apparently not. No, I mean, now that 3PO is gone, you can, you can still pay with the 1 with the, but. So, you get lost to turn any die to any side. You just do the 1 side, which the top side isn't always the threat there. You still get the reroll of Satine, though, which is nice. Rerolling the Entourage die, and still hitting that disrupt.
That is not something you want to see this late in the game because your opponent has no money. You really need to get some damage on the table.
And that 2-for-1, he could feed and get the 1 for the 2-for-1 on the trooper there. If he wanted to.
He could take off Talzin's die and then
it looks like a discard on Talzin's die.
Now, discard may or may not be a bad thing because your opponent probably has some gas. Now, The other thing that happened when
Dagger.
Oh, dagger. Okay. The other thing that happened when C-3PO died is droid stay out is not really good.
And off the sensors is now turned off too.
Yeah, so you could potentially have a lot of dead cards in your hand.
Pigeon dead or alive, yeah. That's fine.
Talzin
one
has
and
a
a-
pew-pew gun. So what you
one
can
and a
do is shoot
blank.
with Talzin and then feed power action, which states you remove one of your character dice and you get a resource.
Looks like the 1 on Talzin there.
Yeah, she's going to be able to shoot Satine, put her down to 3 damage, so 6 health left. And that's a really good place to go into the next round because Jango could just roll out the nuts.
Yeah.
And Satine just goes bye-bye. What? Oh.
Hired muscle.
Okay, so what is that?
So that is from the draft kit. And it's a scoundrel, so it's got all paid sides, but they're all really good paid sides.
Yeah.
So removing the trooper die for the resource with Theed. So got the 1 showing with Talzin.
So Hired Muscle has no blanks. It has incredibly high values on the support, but the trade-off is you have to pay money to resolve anything.
There's the range side with money.
Uh-oh.
Of course,
So,
he doesn't have money, but he has the 1 showing on Satine. So bringing back the van braces. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So Jango's not looking great here.
so Jango has 9 out of 11.
And bringing the van braces back tells me that Jacob doesn't have removal to
Yeah,
to
I
deal
was
with.
just about to
So
say,
he
I'm
brings down-
assuming he's given up on Jango here.
Yeah.
So you pay
And
for the
that's a
3 for on Jango's toast.
Dead bounty hunter.
Can you win? Can you win with Talzin?
I guess no. I mean, if he hasn't. I mean, unless he finds some more weapons here. Kevin looks like he's in a good spot here with all the. I mean, especially with 4 scoundrels on his side for those entourage specials. He's in a good spot right here.
Six supports with very high values for damage is not something you want to be staring down.
And money for days here.
Yeah. I was gonna say he has a card that he can pitch to reroll. Like Kevin just has a lot of options here.
Ezra Saber.
So tell us a little bit about that upgrade.
So 2 cost redeploy. Just a good, solid weapon. I mean, it's got special is pretty good on it too. So a nice, solid, low cost weapon for this deck.
Yeah. What does the special do? It lets you draw cards.
I forget. It's been a while.
I think it's like you draw a card. If you have 3 upgrades, you draw 2 cards. Not that you really want that because you want to push out damage, but in all reality, it still can give you extra gas.
So, the special deals 2 damage to an opponent's character if it's on Ezra, which obviously it's not, force them to lose a resource. So it's just an extra damage side.
Okay. So it's just coming out. All right. So we see Fickle, roll blank, not a big deal. Power action for the trooper, gain of resource. So there's something in his hand he wants to play that's 3 resources. What could it be?
Probably the gauntlet rockets, I would guess.
All right, no damage. Jacob has a chance here to not just get eviscerated because, like, Talzin has some sustainability here.
Disrupt on the Fickle.
Oh, that's rough. The trooper
There it
is.
is, yep.
All right, here we go.
Pulse cannon. Oh, that's what it was.
All right, we got the pew-pew gun. Big.
He does only
pew-pew
have
gun.
1 money, though, so he can't go too crazy with it unless he gets some more money, which goes away with the Fickle. That was a good play by Kevin.
That's an excellent play. So, essentially, he turned off, 60% of the die?
Yep. And there's the 1 side, or the paid side.
Oh, no, that's a 3. That's bad. So,
Yeah.
is he going? The question is, he does not activate Talzin.
Oh, he goes for that die. That's
All
cool.
right.
Wow, nicely done. So he turns the focus to the blank. Good play by Jacob.
So Talzin's ability allows you to target a player's deck, reveal the top card, and if it's odd, you get to flip a die from that player's side to any side you want.
Hidden motive. Wonder what he's going to call. Range. Yep.
Yeah, you better. All right, so with that die being taken out of the pool, what are your thoughts here on this matchup?
I mean, unless Kevin makes some grievous mistake, it's probably a foregone conclusion here.
Which is funny because we keep seeing Disrupt.
Yeah,
and,
Kevin's really good at rolling disrupt. There's an indirect on Entourage.
What's really
The pro-
funny is
the problem-
early game, that was bad.
Yeah.
But late game, it's been great because he's just kept Jacob off of everything.
Yeah, and the problem is that Jacob only has 3 dice on the table and really losing his resource generation. So yeah, I mean it's not great yet. Finishing off the Stormtrooper.
We could see a miracle, but Jacob has claimed Kevin
Don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
You never know.
Never know, but yeah.
That's what makes this game interesting. What is that? Disrupt 3, disrupt for 1?
Yep.
All right, so at this point, all indirect damage is direct damage. Satine has a lot of focus. The entourage cards deal 3 damage per special.
Chewie's Blaster.
Well, if you're going to add insult to injury, this is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, sure.
We'll just put an extra damage on this droid that you can't kill. Roll out some dice. And now he has cards to just reroll.
He can do a lot of damage here.
I mean, it's not looking good, Jim.
No, it's not.
He's dead, Jim. Now, as we said, though, it is a dice game. We could see not much come out. There's a blank.
I see it.
I see a resource. There's a focus. I'm pretty sure that's going to be bad.
Yep.
Considering he still has 2 more cards to roll? Now, a common rule in Magic is you make him win. You never scoop. You don't extend the hand because even though they have 2 resources and they have focus and it looks like it could be bad, your opponent can make a play mistake.
Yep.
All right, well,
there it is. Yep.
Never mind. Jacob goes and gives him the hand. Now, of course, in this instance, there's so many dice. R2 hasn't activated, so he could resolve the Chewie's Blaster, roll out R2, flip a die. Like, you can mathematically deduce if you lost. But until you've done that, don't extend the hand because there's a slight chance you could win.
Yeah, I mean, all that, it was Jacob not seeing those upgrades for Jango early, and then some of those removal that Kevin had. I mean, that's what ultimately cost him. But I mean, great game for both players, and very well done.
Yeah, I think the critical juncture was not killing 3PO turn 2.
Yeah,
he
I
missed
think
it
so.
by 1.
Yeah.
If he had killed 3PO, I think this would have been a completely different game because Kevin got a full activation out of both the characters with the Ewok ambush.
Yep.
And he really put the hurt on Jango. And at that point, killing 3PO really doesn't matter because he got everything he wanted out of him.
Absolutely.
And the worst part was it took 1 card to do it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, if you're watching this and you're thinking about getting into competitive scenes, you have to be really careful with how you micromanage your damage because 1 damage could mean a very important turn in tempo. But any thoughts on this? Because I still think the Jango and Friends deck is very spicy. It didn't get obliterated. It did very well.
No, it did.
Just some bad draws, and if that's what it takes to lose a game, that's still a strong deck.
And don't forget, Jacob missed those 2 Talzin flips. 2 times he activated Talzin, that hurt him as well.
Yeah, so I mean, like if it takes Talzin missing twice, not getting upgrades, and you still are in it, you're probably doing okay.
Yeah.
I would assume this deck was probably going to go far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still early here. Taking a loss here, no
big deal.
Not a big deal.
Nope.
So we'll see how Jacob and his Jango deck does the rest of the way.
Oh yeah. So congratulations to all the players in round 2. There's still 7 minutes left in the round, so we're going to wrap this up. But thank you so much for watching. This is the Chance Cube, a Star Wars Destiny Network. If you're enjoying this content, definitely like and subscribe. Check them out on all their social media sites and thingamajigs. And we're going to take a break.
This coverage of Star Wars Destiny is supported in part by our patrons. The Chance Cube wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the support of our patrons. We appreciate each and every one of you who generously support us in our mission to explore Star Wars Destiny and educate players along the way. We couldn't do it without you. If you would like to join our friends in high places, then head over to patreon.com/The Chance Cube. $1 a month goes a long way to maintaining and growing content like this and much more. And special thanks to Jim Goss, Derek Bertram, and Nathan Henderson for their generous support as top-tier patrons.